Good evening and welcome to Recruitment Race number 4 in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series, live from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway in Miami-Dade County, Florida. In the commentary box, as always, my name is Tyler Dittmer. Joining with me will be Jeff Sickles, and then we'll also have Brady LaBeouf, our road reporter. I'd like to say a big thank you for producer Cody Knott for getting us ready to go for some fun racing on the mile-and-a-half Progressive Banked Oval down here in the virtual Miami. Tonight's NRE Power Systems Truck Series Recruitment Race number 4 will take 125 laps around the 1.5 mile oval. Stage 1 will be 30 laps, Stage 2 60 laps. Drivers will have 4 sets of tires, a 20x DQ limit, and 1 fast repair to work with. As always, I'd like to bring Jeff in the booth. Jeff, how are we feeling? This is one of the few opportunities we're going to see these drivers on a hot, slick track before the season begins. How are we feeling?
Feeling really good after the first 3 recruitment races. Really looking forward to see what these guys can put down on this. Like you said, this is going to be a hot, slick mile-and-a-half speedway here. Homestead is a nice wide track. I expect some long runs potentially here, and with that said, the long runs pit strategy may come into play. How about yourself?
I think this will be a different opportunity for these drivers to race each other. It's the second intermediate track we will have done in our recruitment series, so hopefully these drivers can get used to racing more long green flag runs like we saw at Las Vegas the last time we were in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series recruitment races, as we see Tyler Thurman here putting down some qualifying laps. But I think we're going to hopefully see green flag racing. You're going to see drivers up against the wall like Thurman is there. You're going to see drivers in the middle of the track like Kyle Hess's there. I think the Homestead does provide some great racing, especially when it's during the daytime. It's a little bit more slick, and these trucks can move around a lot more.
Absolutely, as we see here, Kyle Hess putting down his qualifying lap. As the race goes on, you're going to see guys try to move to different parts of this track to find, speed, some grip, and that's going to be the name of the game, is finding what works for you. Like you said, you'll see some guys, do like the Kyle Larson and ride the wall, while other guys might be the middle of the track, a little bit lower. It all depends on what the preference is and where they find that speed.
As we keep looking at now Mike Allen running his qualifying lap, I'd like to bring in the third member of our commentating team, Brady LaBeouf, down on pit road. Brady, we have these smaller stages of 30 laps apiece. What is the fuel situation looking like for these drivers? How far can they go on a tank of gas, and how bad are the tires wearing out?
Well, it's going to be 100% fuel tonight, so they should have plenty of fuel to get to the first and second stage without a problem. It's going to be that third final stage where you will see a green flag pit stop as long as the race continues to go green. So it should be interesting on that final stage. The tires is what I'm really interested in. This race is going to start noon, middle of the day. The multiplier time accelerator is on, so you're going to see a transition from noon, afternoon, to late afternoon, sunset, into the night. So I'm interested to see how this race is going to progress with these drivers as the track gets cooler and you start to see that tire wear and more grip into the track. So it should be very, very interesting, Tyler.
And that's something I think we're looking very forward to as this plays out. As we saw Stephen McGough on that first out lap, it looked like was right up against the wall. And you can already see you have some black stripes on the outside wall in these corners. Drivers are already kind of testing their limits, as you can see a big black stripe entering into 3 and 4. These drivers are going to have their hands full, and they're going to have to try to find the fastest way around this very fun and challenging 1.5 mile. So Jeff, as we continue watching Steven run these laps, what is it like to run right up against the wall in these iRacing simulators? Can you give kind of a sense to the viewers watching on how difficult it is to run that top line?
Absolutely. It's similar to running in traffic. You don't, when you have a car right on your side, you kind of get the same mentality or feeling of you come out of the your turn and get right up against that wall on the straightaways, especially. But when there's other cars around you, You know, the nerves kind of sometimes get to you. You want to just keep your head clear, keep everything straight, and you want to run almost as close as you can to that wall to get the speed build up to get into the turns.
As we see Lumpkin also opting for that high side. I think you're going to see, though, drivers will probably start on the high side, but as that high lane rubbers up, grips up maybe a little bit to the driver's discomfort in a way, you may see them migrate back towards the bottom as you see Lumpkin there running pretty much the middle lane of 1 and 2 there, trying to get a good run accelerated for his qualifying laps. So we see currently the top time is going to the number 13 truck of Allen with a 33.82. But Tyler Thurman, that number 24 truck, was fast last time we raced in the recruitment races. He's only 300ths behind at a 33.85.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, as the race progresses, there's going to be the drivers are going to start searching for what works for them. What works for one guy that's, you know, running the fastest lap when to start off the race, that's not necessarily going to be the same line he's going to be running, you know, 15 laps, 20 laps in as tires begin to wear and rubber gets put down on the track.
As I see Tristan Rogers coming up for his qualifying lap, he was a driver who was very, very competitive last time out in the NRE Power Systems recruitment race number 3 at Las Vegas. He's going to look to put that truck near the front to have a much better starting position than he did last week, where he had kind of start mid-pack and work his way to the front.
And you saw there the 87 of Lumpkin actually ended up putting down the fastest lap with a 33.80, bumping Allen down to the 2 spot.
Yeah, Justin Lumpkin, a regular in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series in our in Nazareth on our Friday nights. Always a tough competitor. I believe he's somewhere in top 5 or 6 in points currently. He's going to be a driver that they're going to have to contend with all night long.
Yeah, it'll be really good to use him as a gauge to see what some of the others guys may have. Justin coming off the Triple M Series, ran Pocono on Friday night. Justin battled his way for a 3rd place finish there at the end, and I expect him to be up there towards the top 5, if not top 3, at the end of this one as well.
Yeah, and speaking of Pocono, it was a fun race for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series on Friday night as they took battle to the Tricky Triangle. Devin Painter getting his first win of the season. Kind of a surprise finish. He played a strategy call well in the first 2 stages. Kind of got him the track position he needed to go compete for a win. And I mistakenly did not take tires on that last caution stop and ended up costing myself probably a much better finish than I had. But a very fun and exciting race. And Brady, I mean, you were up front most of the evening. I mean, what did you think of the Triple M Pulling Truck Series Friday night?
Oh, I thought it actually went pretty good. You know, the strategy played a role. We only had 2 extra set of tires, so that strategy kind of played a role in the outcome of the race. But Devin, I mean, hats off to him for figuring out. I know him and Velocity Esports, they worked well together and came up with the strategy call and gave themselves track position there at the end. And Devin just, I mean, he was hooked up there at the end and went out and took the victory from all of us. I actually hit the wall coming off of turn 3, so I had some damage, but was able to kind of maintenance my drive and manage my race to get a 2nd place finish.
As we see here, Brian shooting his qualifying laps from Fort Myers, Florida. He also was one of the competitors last time out in that NRE Power Systems recruitment race at Vegas, and definitely a driver who, if he has the right strategy, plays his cards right, he's there at the end, he can be a driver to race. As we're coming down into the final minute of qualifying here at Homestead Miami Speedway, I think we're going to see drivers kind of feeling each other out early on. I know restarts here can be extremely chaotic, can cause a lot of drama, trucks give each other. What is your guys' strategy coming into this race if you see things playing out the way they might?
I'm with the short stage. I'm charging to the front, getting as far as ahead as towards that top 10 as I can, because I'm looking for those stage points. You know, with 30 laps into it, I'm going to burn up, but try to maintain somewhat my equipment. But I want those stage points. How about yourself?
I think still in the recruitment race kind of mindset for me. I know that we run the stages to get guys, used to how stages work, and we try to get them more racy. But I think with the recruitment race, you run near the back, you don't really put yourself in a bad position, and try to do your best to keep your truck clean, especially for that final stage. But it's important to note that the NRE Power Systems Truck Series will be kicking off in just a few weeks' time with the Clash and the qualifier at Daytona International Speedway. It should be a blast for all these drivers.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing these guys move into the recruitment race, into the actual season coming up.
As we see now that qualifying has finished, drivers have done what they have, but Justin Lumpkin will be your pole sitter. Mike Allen was second fastest in qualifying. Tyler Thurman will take third. Nicholas Darter fourth. Charles Keller Jr. fifth, another driver who's been in pretty much every recruiting race so far. Donnie Lyons will roll off sixth. Jonathan Wiley, another regular, start seventh. Kyle Hess, a Triple M Pulling Truck Series and NRE Power System Truck Series driver, running off eighth. Christian Rogers, another familiar face, ninth, and Brian Shoes, we talked about earlier, will start in 10th.
11, we got Curtis Rogers. 12, Dan Matthews. 13th, rolling off 13th, will be Stephen McGough. 14th, Cody Sanderson. 15th, Dale Rapp. 16th, we got Brady LaBeouf. 17th, Ron Hunter. 18th, not sure that name, but 19th, we got Brad Adams. These the last 16th through 19th have shown not to put some time down during qualifying.
Yes, Brady. And are you gonna run with the fellow drivers tonight and give us a more behind the scenes view on how this track's running, or are you gonna stay down just pit road?
No, I'm gonna be running back and forth up and down pit road tonight. So I'm not in my. I didn't bring my racing suit to Miami, so I'm gonna be helping out you guys.
And we appreciate that and all the support we can get. I think it's important to know, what have the drivers been saying? Has anyone been vocal during the practice sessions? What are they feeling so far about how the track is running?
Well, everybody kind of knows that if your name's Justin Lumpkin here, that's the guy to beat here. He showed it on Friday nights. He's really fast here, so everybody's talking about that 87 truck and the speed that he has.
And he is definitely a formidable competitor, especially on these mile and a halves, as we see the virtual pace truck rolling off pit roads. You see a look at that 87 orange and white Millie's machine from Justin Lumpkin. These drivers are going to be really on the wheel on, kind of using up those tires a little bit, probably more than they expect to. I think it'll be interesting to see how the trucks differ from the first 15 laps of this first stage to the second 15 laps, when you start to see some of that tire fall off. And will we see some comers and goers, or will everyone kind of burn or use their stuff equally? Will be something to keep note as we run through this race. It looks like pace truck's taking them down the backstretch currently. Are there any last thoughts, Jeff, before we get this one kicked off tonight?
Not necessarily, just wishing these guys luck. Really want to see a good show here. Like I said, Homestead, for the most part, usually puts on some nice long green runs. And like you said, there's going to be comers and goers. Let's see who's going to be there at the end.
As you see Justin Lumpkin on the inside and Allen sitting there, number 13 truck on the outside. Tyler Thurman will be definitely, I think, a driver to watch. We saw his qualifying lap. Didn't take necessarily the most aggressive line, but Justin Lumpkin takes him into the Geico Restart zone, and we get this one underway here in Miami. And Thurman, with a great restart, gets clear of Allen and will slide immediately into second and look to the outside of Lumpkin for the lead. Lumpkin's going to roll that bottom through 1 and 2 as Thurman's going to go immediately to the high side and try to look for momentum on going down the Florida backstretch. I thought it was very interesting. It looked like the 13 truck did not fire off well at all, and he is dropping like a fly throughout the pack. I mean, did he miss a shift, or have we heard anything over the radios, anything wrong with that 13 truck there, Brady?
He missed a shift, so he's going to be falling back and just trying to manage his race from here on out.
And it looks like Thurman and Lumpkin got out pretty clear of the field already. Looks like these two drivers may be the ones to beat early on, but Lumpkin's going to pull away from Thurman there as we are 2 and 3 wide back to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, missing the shift on a restart's not, the best way you want to get going, but it's not the end of the world for you with the short stage. Stay with the pack. you know, refocus and just catch back up and start picking away at trucks. If you had a good qualifying time and good speed, you'll be right back in it.
As we saw, Allen, missing that shift, but he's already crawled his way back to third after falling to as low as fifth. See Nicholas Darter there sitting in fourth on the outside. You see some of these guys running right up against the wall. Truck behind Darter, I couldn't see the number, but these trucks are just, and there's a truck contacting the wall, and we have a spinner on the backstretch. It looks like Dan Matthews and the 38's around. Some more trucks involved. And it looks like we may stay green if those trucks are off the racing surface. Like 2 to 3 different drivers got collected there back in the pack. But still out front, we have Lumpkin, as really the battle is now for third, as Darter has gotten around Allen. Hopefully we can get a replay of what may have been an incident in the back, but these drivers are kind of getting single file, it seems, up near around third through about eighth.
Yeah, at this point, I guess we're going to see them stretch out, single file most likely. I would say at least for the next, 5-10 laps until they really figure out where they're going to run best.
As may have a small technical difficulty, but I think what we saw though in the back was it looked like a truck maybe tried to slide up in front of another truck and come across, and it looks like Dan Matthews gonna have some damage. It is important to note these drivers do have a fast repair, so none of these trucks are necessarily out of the race at this point in time, but definitely something we need forward as we're trying to resolve some technical difficulties, and hopefully we can get the race back live well soon.
Yeah, it's nice to have the fast repair in the recruitment race. You guys, you don't want to see a guy, 4 laps in, get wrecked by somebody else. Kind of gives them a fresh start and keeps them interested. They still have a chance in the race. Although when it comes to the regular season, that free pass is not going to be there. We don't do fast repairs in most of this league, and I believe for the NRE Power Systems Truck Series, that's going to be the same case.
Brady, as it seems like we may have lost the race on our stream. What are the drivers saying about that incident down the backstretch? Did we hear any words or any comments?
Yeah, Dan Matthews, the 38 truck, he got loose and kind of got up into, I believe it was Curtis Rogers in the 65 truck, and he took blame for it. But like I said, they all have fast repairs, so nobody's race is over. It's all about getting through this first stage and working on the second one.
It seems we are now under caution here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Unsure as to what officially brought the caution, because it looks like the Matthews incident did not. I'm going to get a better look here. Looks like the 99 of Charles Keller Jr. Looks like maybe contact with Kyle Hess. He's going to go up and into the air. He probably will have to take a tow back or limp his way back to pit road. It seems multiple drivers on pit road. Matthews and Keller currently on pit road. Lumpkin's still out front, only 7 laps into this 125 lap race here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Again, it kind of just looked someone trying to clear themselves, maybe make a slide job when they weren't clear, and definitely can be frustrating, especially for the driver on the outside when you have a driver just come up and take you into the wall with you.
Yeah, and as these races go on and you got to figure out and know who you're racing against, you kind of build a trust with one another. A lot of these guys are still new, racing with one another. They're not sure who's going to be safe to, rub door to door inches away from, and who to give space to. Could have been there, driver thought he was clear, but made the move and just using up the same race part of the racetrack there.
In an earlier statement, it was not Kyle Hess who was involved in that incident, but it looked like the 85 truck of Rogers was the one who got into Charles Keller there. So that's a rough start to Rogers' day. But we have multiple trucks on pit road here, probably to fix some damage, probably to get used their fast repair, as it looks like Matthews is the first truck off of pit road, but he will be 1 lap down at 15th position. Keller Jr. still obviously on pit road. He probably had to take a tow to the virtual pit lane here, but still out front we have Justin Lump, Tyler Thurman, Nicholas Darter, Kyle Hess, and it looks like, I believe, Robbie Lyons will be rounding out your top 5. Donnie Lyons, rounding out your top 5. Further on back we have in 6th position the 13 truck of Mike Allen, the 7th truck of Cody Sanderson, the 8th place truck of Jonathan Wiley, the 9th place truck of Brian Shu, and rounding out your top 10 currently is the TRDRD Toyota Tundra. So maybe Toyota Racing Development decided to hop into the session. Not really sure how that one works, but definitely interesting to keep note of looking forward.
Tyler, it's been actually a while that I've run Miami Homestead in quite a while. What are these drivers going to see once they get towards the end of the first stage? Are their tires going to be so worn that lap times are going to be really slow? I know it's a track that does eat up tires. So what are these guys going to see as they get towards the end of that first stage?
The fall off is rather significant at Homestead. You can really wear on that right front in tighter conditions, but I'm assuming with the sun out the way it is that these trucks are probably a little bit looser right now. That right rear is going to burn off, and you're going to see a pretty significant fall off if we get 25 laps of green flag racing. I mean, it's a significant advantage. We saw at the Triple M Pulling Truck Series earlier this year at Homestead Miami Speedway, myself and Ted Wade on brand new fresh tires in a 2 to 3 lap sprint were able to go from 17th on back to both finish easily in the top 10. So there's enough fall off to fresh tires that it is a significant concern. And in that final stage, maybe pitting early will be the more beneficial route to getting to the front faster. It looks like the lights are out on the virtual iRacing pace truck. Again, Justin Lumpkin on the inside lane, Tyler Thurman to his outside in row number 1. Then we have Nicholas Darter and Kyle Hess in row number 2. And the two drivers that are very popular in the Friday night Triple M Pulling Truck Series scene, Kyle Hess and Justin Lumpkin. Not really a surprise to see them up front, and not really a surprise to see Tyler Thurman up front either, as he's been up front for most of these recruitment races and as always a very strong competitor. But I mean, after those first few laps, it looked like Lumpkin was able to kind of just pull away from the pack. Is that what you're hearing down there on pit road, Brady?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at Kyle Hess, he tends to manage his spot. I know he likes being in 4th right there. And I'm sure he's just going to kind of follow Tyler and Justin and see how the rest of the stage plays out.
So you go through the Geico Restart zone. Lumpkin gets a great start and will get clear of everyone down into turn 1. Tyler Thurman's going to have Nicholas Darter to his inside, though. He cannot get to the bottom. It looks like Darter may try to make a slide job of 2. He is clear of Thurman, and he will slide into 2nd place. A great restart for the 17 truck there, as Thurman's going to drop the 3rd, but he'll try the crossover move coming into 3 and 4. He'll go to the bottom here, and Darter will now have to run the high line through 3 and 4. Coming back towards the front stretch in Miami. And for this, Justin Lumpkin is loving it as he is going to run away as the 3 trucks do battle. Kyle Hess will be looking for his opportunity to hopefully get around these 2 trucks as they will push each other into 1.
Yeah, Lumpkin got out to a good jump there. And here we go, with the trucks going back to single file, spreading out a little bit. This should give them some room and hopefully some green run laps here.
Yeah, and I think something we don't talk about enough, especially when we come to these intermediates, is you're not going to see 2 drivers who are nose to tail run the same line in the corners. That dirty air really tightens up that truck, and you want to keep your truck off the wall. You're going to have to find clean air to get to the nose of that truck, as you're going to see these guys spread out entering the corners, trying to maybe get your nose either just below the truck in front or just above, so you can still keep that draft. As we're looking at the battle here between Cody Sanderson and Jonathan Wiley, as Wiley got loose there off of 2. And everyone behind him is going to get a big run down straightaway.
Almost perfect timing from what you were just saying there, Tyler. The 9, stuck his nose under there and tried to run the same line through the turn, and it got him, pretty much loose.
Yeah, you see that truck shoot up, and he's got company as it looks like Mike Allen has gone through, and now Donnie Lyons is going to look to try and get by that truck. But yeah, Wiley just, he tried to run the same lines we're saying about Cody Sanderson ran, and that truck shot straight to the outside wall, and he had to make a great save to keep it off the wall, but he did lose some time, and he is stuck now behind the Mike Allen machine.
So as these trucks get spaced out, thinned out, give yourself some room to run. If you're one of the trucks in the back, what are you doing to try to make a change or work your way back towards the front.
I think the advantage for that following truck is actually lifting earlier into the corner, maybe even using a little bit of brake to get that front end rotated and trying to get a better exit off, because in my opinion, you have to be at least even with the car entering the corner that you're trying to pass to be able to complete that pass. Especially as these tires get older, you're going to need a bigger run down those straightaways. It's just so hard to make passes if you're staying completely side by side throughout an entire corner. No one's going to get an advantage. Truck on the inside lane isn't going to get a good enough run off. And as you see Kyle Hess here trying to find a way around his darter, but he is just kind of struggling to get a large enough run down these straightaways entering one of these corners. It's that waste equipped 17. It looks pretty comfortable there in third, but no, everyone is chasing the man out front, Justin Lumpkin, as he has pulled a significant lead for Tyler Thurman in second.
Yeah, he's slowly building a larger lead, pushing it to almost 1 second now as he's out front. Being that he's the leader at this point, you know, he just kind of has to hit his marks. But at the same time, with it being the short stage, is there anything he's doing different, or just, you know, setting sail and letting those guys fight behind him and make that space between them bigger?
I think it's a little bit of both for Lumpkin out. You know, you don't want to overdrive the car, burn your tires up, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to back off too much. But I think with the gap he has now being at over 1 second and still growing, he can kind of run whatever line he wants. He has clean air all around him. He doesn't really have to worry. As we have a caution, lap 18 out of 125 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll try and get you all a replay to see what happened there, but Lumpkin will continue to have the lead, and we may have had a towing situation that brought out the yellow, as it looks like Charles Keller stopped on the access road, or maybe his engine has expired. Hopefully Brady can get us more information on that, but it looks like Charles Keller going down the access road has brought out this yellow.
Yeah, guys, that's correct. I don't think he used this fast repair. He was trying to save it, but the engine just blew right there for him. So he tried his best to get down here, but the caution still came out by iRacing.
It's unfortunate. Sometimes we see iRacing won't throw a caution on a blown engine unless the truck is fully stopped. But as we saw there, a slow truck, kind of similar to what we saw in some of the Cup and Truck Series races and Xfinity Series race at Talladega. A really slow truck is just a dangerous thing on track, even if they're far off the racing surface. So iRacing decides to throw the yellow there, and we'll have a couple of pace laps. These guys restacked to have a small, short dash to the end of stage 1 at lap 30. As Justin Lumpkin still your leader out front.
Yeah, it's, you know, it stinks to be that guy. I was that guy Friday night in the Triple M Series at Pocono. Unfortunately, got into someone else's mess on the start of the race. Tried to, you know, keep it going, fix my truck. But right before the end of the first stage, you know, your engine expires. Try to get it off the racing surface, but sometimes, you know, you're done. You just can't move anymore, and that'll cause friction.
You see multiple trucks are coming down pit road. Donnie Lyons being the furthest truck forward to come down pit road, as it looks like Dan Matthews will get his lap back here. But several trucks opting to pit here, possibly for tires, maybe for fuel to get them to the end of stage 2. With under 10 laps at the end of the stage, maybe you do come in pit now and try to have track position out front and run up front for all of stage 2 and then pit again at the end of that stage. Otherwise, I don't know if you guys were thinking maybe these trucks had damage. Have you heard anything, Brady, on they decide to come down pit road, or are they kind of keeping it close to their chest as a strategy call?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a little bit of both. They had guys like the 85 of Tristan Rogers. He had a little bit of damage. Curtis Rogers, his right front was crinkled in a little bit. So I'm sure they're going to get those optional repairs fixed. And it's key note that Charles Keller did get his fast repair done, so he will be out of them the remaining of the race.
That's important as we look it down through the running order again. We'll do our top 10. Justin Lumpkin still the man out front, the pole sitter, led every lap so far. Following right behind him in second, Tyler Thurman, who's pretty much been in second the entire race as well, except for small little moments. In third, Nicholas Darter in the Ford 17 machine right there. Kyle Hess from Memphis, Tennessee in that Chevrolet. And rounding out your top 5 for now is Cody Sanderson, his Toyota Tundra. Sitting in sixth, we have Jonathan Wiley in that 009 machine all the way against the wall. Seventh, we have Mike Allen, his 13 Chevy Silverado. And eighth, we have, it looks like the 85 Tristan Rogers. Ninth is the TRD Toyota Tundra. And 10th will be Dale Rapp in that 52 Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, getting back to the pit strategy here. If I'm one of the guys that had damage, or maybe it wasn't towards the front top 10, definitely at this portion of the stage, it'll be a 8 to 9 lap shootout towards the end of the first stage. But I might take my tires and take the track position on the start of stage 2.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you're far back in the pack, you have that option to take tires, maybe race for some track position for stage 2, as it looks like the lights are out on the iRacing pace truck. But if you're Justin Lumpkin and you see these guys pitting and you're thinking, oh, they may not pit at the end of the first stage here in a few laps time, that probably is going to frustrate you a little bit, as you're going to be stuck in dirty air for one of these future restarts. And maybe you're a little annoyed when you come off pit road and see there's 3-4 trucks on the lead lap in front of you after the first stage break.
Yeah, could be a little annoyed, but then realize that you at that point may have tires that are 8 to 10 laps newer at that point, and just know that the lead may come back to you once you start working your way and passing those that have those older tires.
And I think with the speed Lumpkin's shown so far, that lead will come back to him rather quickly, because it will be about 8 laps of green flag racing if we go green to the end of stage 1 here. That these tires for those guys that pitted with Donnan starting in 11th on back have used. I got to see, though, important to note, Dan Matthews at 38 machine is back on the lead lap after that earlier incident. I believe he probably had to take a fast repair as Lumpkin leads him into the Geico Restart zone. And we are back racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Again, just another really good, clean restart from Lumpkin. He jumps out to the lead. Thurman second and Nicholas Darter sitting there in third. And they get single file rather quickly this time instead of racing through 1 and 2 like they did last time for second.
And you see how much of a difference it shows that, staying in line and racing your line and not battling for that position keeps them close to the tailgate of that first place Lumpkin.
I think this is one of the beauties of Homestead Miami Speedway. We have just, 4, 5, 6 different lanes that these trucks are running, all there, the top 6. And they are holding on to Lumpkin a little bit better than they have the last few restarts, but we'll probably see Lumpkin start to stretch that lead out as these laps wind down to the end stage 1. But, I mean, Nicholas Darter pretty much against the wall, almost diamonding the corner coming off of it. We have trucks further back like Kyle Hess who just ride the wall throughout. But it looks like Nicholas Darter looking to the inside of Tyler Thurman for second with 7 laps to go here in stage 1. He's going to hopefully clear that 24 truck, but he will not be clear, as Thurman should get a really large run down the corners. Cody Sanderson gets loose behind. He's going to fall to 5th and maybe even lose a spot to Hess.
Yeah, and if you're Justin Lumpkin up there in front, when you see those 2 trucks battle in second place side by side, you kind of smile to yourself a little bit and know that that's where you're going to start pulling away.
As we saw, Nicholas Darter taking Tyler Thurman side by side in the 3 and 4 last time has cost him a significant amount of time, as Jonathan Wiley has jumped to the bottom of Darter trying to take 3rd place away. So we see the Lumpkin starting to stretch that lead back out again. But Wiley and Darter here now fighting side by side for 3rd. Those trucks are door to door as they come down the front stretch, entering 1 and 2. Again, the outside lane is going to have that run out the corner, but if Wiley can get clear here, get up front, make that slide job forward, might be able to fend off a run down this back straightaway, but he is not going to be clear as they come off the corner.
That was right here as you see them go through the corner, how 2 different lines can produce, almost the same speed. They through, one running completely low along the bottom line, as you see the 9 here make the slide job, and then you're going to have the crossover move here. But 2 different lines producing 2 different results, and you're going to see this throughout the race.
Not a good enough run for Darter there off of 4 to make the crossover work. I mean, Wiley just had enough speed off the block carry throughout the corner. He's going to jump to third. Darter's going to drop back to fourth. Tyler Thurman still second, as Justin Lumpkin has opened that gap up to about 10 truck lengths now over Thurman. And Wiley's coming for second, and he's not going to settle for third at the end of this first stage, as we are coming to 3 laps to go in stage number 1. But Tyler Thurman gained a little bit of time in the second half of that lap, but still overall losing time to Justin Lumpkin. Maybe Jonathan Wiley's the only truck who can go up there and compete with Lumpkin at this point in the race.
We got 2 laps to go here in the stage. Stage 1 ending at at the completion of lap 30. Lumpkin, holding his own out front, while the battle right here is for second place.
You see, it looked like Thurman got a little bit tight, shifted up to the wall more than he wanted to, and it's kind of interesting that Wiley's making a lot of his time right now on the bottom. It seems like he prefers the bottom to middle lanes so far on the track, as Darter's falling further back, so that Cody Sanderson looking to the inside for Kyle Hess trying to follow behind. It looks like Darter's just really struggling with the truck at the point now, as we're going to have almost 3 wide there for fourth, but as they're going to get it kind of figured out, as Hess is going to look to get by Darter here in 3 and 4, as Cody Sanderson is well clear at this point. Made the move there. It looks like now Mike Allen's going to try to join the party and get by Nicholas Darter. It looks like Darter's kind of losing the handling with the truck. Is he saying anything on the radio, Brady?
No, they're ready for this stage break to end, that's for sure, because they all want tires.
And I know it feels when you're really struggling and falling back, you don't really want to come on the radio and say anything that might give you away, but it looks like Tyler Thurman is closing out on the back of that truck of the 87 Justin Lumpkin here, as we are coming to end stage 1. But it's going to be Justin Lumpkin with a dominating stage 1, leading every lap, and that's just a master class early on by Lumpkin on how to race at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Absolutely, yeah, and if you if that maybe that stage worked a little bit different, then maybe they would have had something to catch Lumpkin there. But being that the stage broke up the way it is, he just enough saved with his tires and was able to pull it off.
At
yeah,
this
just
point,
a key note there. Tyler coming along there, he's going to be a guy to watch here on the long run in that final stage, Tyler.
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Thurman just a really blazing last few laps, but I'd like to take this moment to thank our sponsor, Butker, for sponsoring Stage 1 here tonight in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series. I know Butt Kicker's been a friend of NASRA for a long time, and I know, Jeff, you can speak highly to what Butt Kicker has and what they have to offer for a sim racer in your life.
Absolutely. Visit Butt Kicker at www.thebuttkicker.com. And Butt Kicker haptic hardware and software deliver the most accurate and the highest fidelity sim racing tactile feedback possible via in-game audio and telemetry data. Experience the deep immersion by actually feeling the vehicle suspension, track surfaces, and RPMs, tire grip, and more. Precise haptic feedback for your simulator means faster driving, more immersion, and more control. Check out Butt Kicker today.
Yeah, and just a great sponsor Butt Kicker is. And we have trouble here on pit road. Dan Matthews involved. It looks like the 52 involved. Entry to road is tight, and multiple trucks colliding there on pit road. It looks like we have that one truck around it. It looks like not the 52, but the 2 machine. Just some. There's probably some very frustrated drivers over the radio after that one there, Brady.
Tyler, that's tough, man. And we see that for some reason. It's typical here that these guys see those yellow barrels and they want to go for it. Now we've seen guys, get wrecked and just pile up behind each other, and it's going to cost a bunch of guys their fast repairs. That's for sure, because we got guys blowing up.
I'm not sure Dan Matthews has a fast repair to use, and he looked like he was involved there. But just a lot of just frustration there early on, and we saw this in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. A driver got into the barriers entering pit road and damaged a lot of good trucks, and it led to a truck blowing up later in the race and a caution count. So definitely one of the more difficult pit roads, but it's just kind of an unfortunate situation for those drivers behind the driver who decides to enter and hit the barrels coming onto pit road.
And it may be one of those things that some guys don't, practice for or take into consideration on some of these track. Homestead here, we talked about being a nice wide multi-groove track. But when you come down and go to that pit road, it narrows quickly, and if you're not paying attention, just like what happened there, we were talking about butt kicker. Somebody got a kick in the butt. The rear tailgate ended up getting spun around.
And with that chaos on pit road, we have a new top 10 up front. Although the leader will remain the same, Justin Lumpkin still out front in his Ford F-150 machine, that 87 truck, clean as can be. Second still also Tyler Thurman, but we have a big change, third on back in the field. Third, Brian Chu, who saw his qualifying lap earlier today. He's moved up to third from Fort Myers, Florida. Jonathan Wiley up to fourth, so he's losing actually a spot from entering pit road. Fifth would be Kyle Hess. Sixth will go to Cody Sanderson. Sitting seventh is Mike Allen. Eighth will be Nicholas Darter. He's losing multiple spots, although he was falling off the end of the stage. Ninth will be Dale Rapp, and rounding out the top 10 is the TRD number 19 machine. Just a lot of chaos there on pit road. It looks like Dan Matthews is out of the race. Obviously, I think he might have blown up for a second time using his fast repair for an earlier incident. And that's unfortunate for the 38 truck, as he's been a fun competitor for most of these recruitment races, but his night has ended early, sadly, in part to that incident on pit road. And I know that it's very frustrating as a driver when that's the way that your night has ended.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these guys, practice for a couple days, put some time into it, and to end your race like that's just very unfortunate. But hey, it's part of racing sometimes.
Yes, as we all know, racing can giveth and racing can taketh away very, very quickly, especially at some of these mile and a halves where pit road is tight and the racing is plentiful on track. As it looks like the lights are out on the iRacing pace truck. We'll have half a lap to come back around. We'll get the green flag to kick off stage 2. Again, your point man is Justin Lumpkin, leading every lap so far. Tyler Thurman, who's pretty much run second every lap so far. But new players up front with Brian Chu sitting there in third, and Jonathan Wiley looked like he was coming on strong at the end of that first stage. He'll be a driver, I think, to watch if we get a nice long green flag run here at this second stage.
And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, is if we can put this stage in a long green flag run. Really see if somebody's got something for the 87 of Justin Lumpkin as they get going again here on to start on lap 36.
So we look here at Justin Lumpkin as he gets through the Geico Restart zone, and as he's done so far, every single start and restart, he gets clear entering 1 and 2, and Tyler Thurman's just going to kind of file in behind here as they get up to speed. Looks like Brian Chu in that 51 machine has fallen off the pace a little bit in 1 and 2. As it looks like Jonathan Wiley will hop to the outside around him for third. Kyle Hess coming through, trying to get up in the 4th position. It looks like Brian Chu stuck on the bottom, and a bold move there by Cody Sanderson, 88. He's going to hop up in there into 5th position. Brian Chu really struggling for grip as we see a truck get loose. That's Nicholas. Oh, and he is around, and that's unfortunate. It looks like everyone else has avoided him, but looks like the 17 machine has spun, and we stay green. He's able to tow fast enough to get out of everyone's way, but still out front we have that 87 machine, Justin Lumpkin, Tyler Thurman sitting second, and Jonathan Wiley sitting third. Looked like that 17 truck just got loose and may have had some help around. Any comments over the radio on that incident from Nicholas Darter?
No, he's just saying that he got loose. So that was he's taking the blame for that one. It was all on him, but he got loose, and he actually got into the number 88 truck of Michael Allen there.
Mike Allen, yeah, and the 88 painted, but number 13 on our scoring charts. That's unfortunate to see as we see the 88 registered truck of Cody Sanderson diving to the inside of Jonathan Wiley here, moving up as it looked like Wiley may have had a rough couple of corners and has fallen back now into 5th. Kyle Hess will slide up into 3rd, and Wiley struggling on these fresh tires for grip. Doesn't seem he's very comfortable with how that truck is running right now, Jeff.
Absolutely, and seeing the slide and the spin out by the truck that he was somewhat near, he may be realizing that these tires are new, cold, and need to run them around a little bit here, build up the heat, get the grip going before you start really pushing it through the turns.
And it would stop me if I've said this before, but it looks like Justin Lumpkin just ran his fastest lap of the race. And he is pulling away from Tyler Thurman at the tune of well over a couple of tenths a lap, over half a second on that last lap alone. And he is just cruising out front here, opening up that lead more and more as the laps run by. But we get a long green flag run here. We may see Thurman close that gap, but Thurman right now well over a second and a half back as Kyle Hess has now slotted in the third position and is chasing down Thurman for that second spot.
Yeah, I was going to say don't count Kyle Hess out running third here. He's very methodical on the way he lays out his races. He usually, may not be up front at the start of a race, but he does chop away at it. He does stay consistent, and in a matter of time here, I expect him to be battling for that second position.
You saw in the last 5 laps there, Hess struggled early on in that run, but he gained for a couple tenths over 3 laps, but then he lost about a tenth on that last lap there. As he gets closer, that dirty air is going to really affect how that truck handles, and it's going to make it harder for him to keep closing on to the back of Tyler Thurman. So Hess, as you see, running about a lane higher than Thurman there in 3 and 4. Going to try and find the grip where he can get it and try to find a way around that 24 truck.
As you see the onboard here of Kyle Hess, we talked about running a little bit different line when you're behind a truck through the turns, but on the straightaways, are you going to treat this like almost like a super speedway? Do you want to get to that, try to stay in that line with that truck and use the air to your advantage there?
I think you have to get with drafting. As you see, running almost exactly the same line. He's going to get a little bit tight there, as you see, snappy a little bit, but he's actually still going to gain ground. Maybe a little bit of a loose is fast kind of situation here for the Kyle Hess machines. He's going to run up right on Thurman entering 1 and 2. He's going to look below Thurman. I mean, Hess has been running that middle line pretty consistently. Thurman's kind of searching for grip, running the bottom, running the top. I don't think Thurman has found that lane where he feels most comfortable. Looks like Kyle Hess is pretty comfortable in that middle to bottom groove.
Absolutely, and as your tires wear, you got to keep what works for you. Right now, like you said, Kyle Hess maintains that, kind of that center groove, center line, and it's been working for him, and he's once again catching the second truck and going to be putting on a move here shortly.
We see Jonathan Wiley has gotten back around that Cody Sanderson machine for fourth, but Kyle Hess again closing the gap here, looking to the inside. Looks like Thurman got tight there. Hess will have a run on the bottom down the back straightaway. And this is where I think Lumpkin's going to continue to gap. I mean, as we see, these trucks are side by side, and Lumpkin's over 2.5 second lead. But sorry about that, Jeff. What were you saying?
No worries. I was just pointing out basically the same thing. As these trucks, it's getting hard to pass, and as you get up alongside of that other truck, you're actually seeing each other down, and Lumpkin up front in the 87 machine is just going to keep building that space between them.
As we see, Brian Chu, who started this stage in third, has fallen all the way back to 10th. That truck is just not comfortable right now. Nicholas Darter, the 17 truck who did spin and we stayed green for, he is out of the race officially. So 2 trucks who took the green flag are already out in Dan Matthews and Nicholas Darter. Charles Keller still multiple laps down, sitting between them two in positioning wise as we look through the rest of the field here. These trucks, I mean, you see they're running multiple different lines, different grooves, searching for that grip. At this point in the race, are you kind of more focused on finding the line where you think you're the fastest, or are you trying to focus on figuring out what your tire number is at this point, Jeff?
Yeah, I definitely feel like you want to kind of get yourself comfortable. What might be fast also might burn your tires up pretty quickly, as we saw the 9 again save it coming through the turns here. But my goal would be here to set up what I'm going to do, and actually in the third stage, I'm going to run my line, which is consistent, but still somewhat fast. But I want to conserve those tires because you're not sure what you're going to be up against in the third and final stage.
So we saw Jonathan Wiley struggling at the beginning of the stage, but he is reeling back in second and third place of Tyler Thurman and Kyle Hess. That 9 truck, I think in the long run, really has the grip and the speed to compete, but he's just hurting himself too much early on in these runs, costing himself positions that he can't stay near Justin Lumpkin early on, though. As you see, Lumpkin has almost nearly a 3-second lead over Tyler Thurman.
Now, Brady, I know we talked about this being the final recruitment race for the NRE Power Systems Truck Series. Um, is there still time for new guys or somebody out there watching? What can they do if they become a part of this?
Oh, absolutely, Jeff. This just because it's our last recruitment race doesn't mean that we stop recruiting at Nazareth. Uh, we still have 2 weeks before we officially kick off the season with the Clash and the qualifier to get ready for our little version of the Daytona 500 in the Truck Series. So plenty of time, and even once the series starts, you get 2 drop weeks in the regular season, so you still have a couple of weeks to join, even after the season starts. So they can go to our Facebook page at Nazareth Racing. Just contact us, send us a message. We'll send you the Discord link. All our series cost money. It's a money league at Nazareth. So for this series, it's a $20 championship fund plus $12 a race with weekly payouts and championship payouts. So if anybody's interested, they can find us on Facebook, join our Discord, and we're always promoting our series and our league and iRacing leagues, iRacing money leagues on Facebook, all of the iRacing community channels that you can find.
And we do appreciate everything you do for us, Brady, here at Nazareth and Nazareth 360 Broadcasting. So we see that battle for second place is tighten up as we have 3 trucks running 3 completely different lines here in 1 and 2. And this is really what Homestead Miami Speedway is about. Different lines, still having speed and still being able to compete. But at the same time, it's still very, very difficult to actually complete those passes when you're running such different lines because your runs are going to come at different points on the track.
Absolutely, and that picture right before was almost perfect. And you describing this track perfectly is each line is going to produce something a little bit different, and no matter what time it is, what portion of the race it in is really going to determine a lot of times what's going to work for each driver. Like you said before, the 9 Wiley may have that long speed. And a long run is going to be what he needs to get to the front. And right now, with 8 laps to go in the second stage, we're seeing come to light here.
Yeah, as we are running down here in the final few laps of this second stage, though, I mean, Justin Lumpkin has pulled out to almost over now a 3.5-second lead, and he has not anyone bothering any of his lines. He can run the groove he wants to run, save some tires, feel out his truck, maybe try to figure out how his truck's going to handle in the long run, and not really have to worry about making a mistake and hitting another driver or losing his position when he has such a comfortable lead, well over 3.5 seconds. But the battle for second place right now between Tyler Thurman, Kyle Hess, and Jonathan Wiley is the most interesting battle we have on track, because it looks like Jonathan Wiley is slowly being dropped by these front 2. Kyle Hess has been all over the back of Tyler Thurman, just hasn't found a way to get by. But to see these 3 trucks spread out, Kyle has kind of run his left sides just above that seam right there. Don't want to run your tires on that seam. Very, very loose. But as we see the time multiplier now is really starting to affect here at Homestead Miami Speedway, as it looks like we are in the twilight hours with well over half this race to go.
Yeah, if you're Justin Lumpkin, you're sitting out front, over 4 seconds ahead. You just hit the cruise control button. You're hitting your mark still, paying attention to what's in front of you, which is much of nothing except for clean air. But if you were to look in, in the cockpit of their sim, Justin's calm and cool. These next 3 trucks are got the sweat beads probably pulling up on their foreheads as they're trying to either maintain their position in second place or, like Hess, trying to figure out what line it's going to take to get in front of the truck in front of them.
Yeah, as you see, it looks like Tyler Thurman getting a little tight there in 3 and 4. That's going to give Kyle Hess a run down this front straight, but I think he is just still a little too far back to be able to make that pass at this point in time. I would like to take this moment, though, as we're running the final laps of Stage 2 here at Homestead Miami Speedway, as we see Tyler Thurman in the wall, and that's going to allow Kyle Hess to get through and Jonathan Wiley. And the 24 truck, as we saw, was running the ultimate top lane here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and it looks like it bit him here in 1 and 2.
Yeah, you questioned before running that, that high line.
As Wiley gets through there off.
it ended up taking a toll on him. He made contact with the wall and allowed Hess. Now Hess has got the clean air as the third and fourth place trucks battle for the position.
Yeah, as it looks like the 9 machine of Jonathan Wiley really struggling on corner exit there. He gets loose again, and that's going to allow Cody Sanderson to fly up here and maybe make a pass for fourth. Tyler Thurman, it seems like he's battling a tight truck condition, but Jonathan Wiley is battling a loose truck condition, and he cannot seem to keep that back end squared away right now. As Cody Sanderson gets loose off of 4, and I think we're seeing this be a product of the track is changing. The track is cooling down really rapidly now as we see the sun going down. I think we're going to see this track change dramatically as it looks like 78 degrees already. And yeah, we're going to see this track really change here soon.
Yeah, we're watching it, just in the last couple, even seconds, the track temperature dropped a couple degrees. Once that sun's not beating on that pavement anymore, it's going to start to cool, and that's going to change the track quickly for these drivers.
Yeah, as we see the track temp right now, 88 degrees, air temp is 78 degrees, but as you're saying, Jeff, the sun is going down. The lights should be coming on soon at Homestead Miami Speedway. These drivers are going to have, I think, a bit of a shock on seeing how much this track changes over the last 65 laps, as we have under 2 laps to go here in stage 2. But still out front, Justin Lumpkin just dominating this race. I mean, over a 5-second lead at the moment. Kyle Hess sitting in second, kind of separated himself from the drivers around, but still just kind of a dominating position right now for Justin Lumpkin.
Yeah, if you're him, you got a big smile across your face as you cross the line, as he's going to cross the line and take the stage 2 win along with the stage 1 win he's already got in his pocket. Now you're just going to hope, being Lumpkin, if you can just repeat this for probably by the time we go back to green for another 80 laps or so.
Yeah, and Lumpkin led every lap, has dominated the race so far, but we're seeing these trucks are reacting very differently as Justin Lumpkin officially wins stage 2 here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and just so far a dominating drive. And I think we're going to still see maybe more of the same here in this final stage, but if the track conditions keep changing, we may see some major differences in the last 60 laps of this race. I'd like to take this moment to thank our stage 2 sponsor, Millie's Catering, another proud supporter here of the Nazareth Nazareth NRE Power Systems Truck Series. We appreciate everything you do for us, and I know, Jeff, you know a little bit more about Millie's Catering than I do.
I do. Millie's Restaurant and Catering, owned by a dear friend of mine, and they just went through the hurricane that went through Florida, their area. Luckily, they're still standing, still without phones and internet and all that good stuff, working off just a cash basis, but they're there. So if you're ever in the Daytona Beach Shores, Florida area, go see Millie's Restaurant. They've been dedicated to serving the Daytona Beach Shores community the freshest, locally sourced, chef-quality food since 2017. No matter what time of year, it's guaranteed you'll be enjoying the best of the season. Millie's currently offers indoor and outdoor dining, but dining in options, it's strongly recommended that you make a reservation. Check them out at milliesrestaurant.com.
And thank you for that. And obviously, we are big supporters of Millie's, as they are big supporters of us here at Nazareth and the NRA Power System Truck Series. As we see drivers coming down pit road for their probably second to last stop here of the night. Hopefully no incidents this time getting on pit road, as it looks like the remaining trucks out there are going to get on cleanly, as these drivers going to get 4 fresh tires and fill these trucks up. They need it with the way some of these trucks are driving, and really hoping that maybe 4 fresh tires is exactly what they need to make their charge to the front or get their truck handling better.
What are the drivers / crew chiefs all in the same sometimes here in the Iron world? What's the hot chatter down there, Brady? Anybody coming up with any type of strategy? And if they're not talking, what would be your strategy heading into this third stage?
Oh, well, it's, everybody's chasing that 87 truck of Justin Lumpkin. He's definitely fast on the short run, the long run. He's putting 2/10 a lap on everybody. So it's interesting to see. I thought Tyler was going to put up a bigger fight than he did in that second stage, but like you guys were just talking about, the track temps changing, where the lights are on. We're getting into the night part of the race, and it's a key note. I don't understand. I thought Tyler would use his fast repair right there. He's got some right front damage, some hood damage. Wiley also saved his fast repair. He doesn't. He has damage on the right front also because he got into the wall a couple of times. So they're the track's definitely loose right now for them. So it's going to be a crazy final stage, that's for sure.
As we are almost in complete darkness at this point in the race, it'll be about just under probably 60 laps of racing left when we go green. But at this point, like you said, Brady, they are all chasing the man out front, Justin Lumpkin, who has just been dominating this race. I believe he's led every lap, if not really close to it, maybe under some of these cautions. But I mean, Justin Lumpkin out front has been a dominant force, although Kyle Hess did show some speed late in that run, but he's hoping that maybe he doesn't have to race these guys early on in this restart. He can just get right behind Lumpkin and maybe kind of hold on to him here in this final stage, and hopefully we get some green flag stops that can maybe shake things up. Tyler Thurman, though, sitting still in third. As we said, he got into the wall earlier, still with some damage. Cody Sanderson in fourth. Looks like he's kept a relatively clean truck, but he hasn't really shown that in speed. Brian Chu started up front beginning of the last stage, fell to the back quickly. He'll restart fifth. Sitting in sixth, we have Donnie Lyons. He's been around the 6th to 10th place position all night. Had some difficulties earlier. 52 of Dale Rapp. He'll be sitting in 7th. In 8th, we have Curtis Rogers in the 65 machine. 9th will be Jonathan Wiley. He looks like he'll be restarting towards the back. And 10th, rounding out your top 10, will be Mike Allen. As of now, we are not planning to host a recruitment race next week here a recruitment race next week on the NASRA Broadcasting Network, because we will actually be broadcasting the NASRA Cup Series live next Monday at 9 o'clock. They are currently still in their regular season at the moment, but racing the last few weeks has been really dramatic in the Cup Series, and we're excited to give them a broadcast as they'll be switching over to us for a 1 week show.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Little change of pace. But yeah, definitely looking forward. Hoping I can be there for that one. And we're gonna get going back to green here with Lumpkin still out front. Now, if you're, Hess, Thurman, Sanderson, Chu, top 5, chasing that 87, are you hoping for a long green flag run here, or what's your plan of attack, knowing that Lumpkin gets out front quickly?
I think you've seen how it's going to be as Lumpkin gets a great restart again. You got to get in line, and unfortunately, Kyle Hess is going to lose that second spot to Tyler Thurman just with the amazing restarts that Lumpkin's been getting all night. As we are pretty much in total darkness now. The lights are on Homestead Miami Speedway. The track is going to be gripped up. I think we're going to see faster times now as this race runs into the darkness as we make our run to the finish here.
Yeah, as we've seen every restart so far, that 87 of Lumpkin jumps out to the front, and here we go. The 24 is going to run his high line again, and Hess is going to try to run the lower line, or they're going to battle side by side second.
As you saw, I mean, a lot of chaos in the back of the pack. Drivers are finding new lines. It looks like multiple trucks hitting the wall there on the front straightaway. Hard hit. We are under caution as it looked like the back of the pack. A couple of drivers involved. It seemed like a very, very hard collision further on back, but these front four, it seemed, got it figured out. And I don't know if Kyle Hess is too happy. He's going to be starting on that outside again. But it looks like we're going to try to get that Pulse Poppers instant replay and see what was going on in the back of the pack, because it looks like the TRD machine 19 gets loose off of 4, and he looks like he is going to come back up into traffic. Yeah, I can't see what happened to Steve Mago. Oh, and it looks like Steve Mago is just going to pile into the back of that TRD 19, and Charles Keller just gets a piece of that there, and Mago's going to go around into the inside wall. You got to feel bad for Mago. He's just kind of a victim there in that situation, and that TRD machine getting loose and coming back up, and that's a hard hit there for Mago.
Yeah, spun him like a top, hard hit on the inside wall. Most likely, if he hasn't already used it, that's going to be where he's going to use his fast repair and stay in this race.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation for Mago. The TRD 19 machine still running as well, it seems, and Mago looks like did use that fast repair, maybe is down pit road trying to use that fast repair. We'll see how it goes out for him. It looks like Tristan Rogers, though, 2 laps down, has also fallen off the pace. It looks like Mago is trying to get back around the track, blown engine, so you see the smoke puttering out of the back of that machine. Let's try and get a better look at that TRD 19 machine. It looks like Brian Chu is also down pit road there. TRD 19 machine is still out on the track. He looks like he has some right rear damage there. Brady, any report on any of the drivers and what's wrong with their trucks?
Yeah, this track is definitely cooling down, and it's very, very slick and loose for them. So they're all trying to figure it out. Everybody's in the same boat, but it should be pretty interesting here. Kyle Hess, I know, is fighting a very, very loose truck, but we should see them running multiple grooves, and Kyle's going to be running that high line to get that momentum off the corner. So hopefully it gets exciting and we see a lot of side-by-side racing.
We see 87 here. I don't know if I missed it myself, but did he come down pit road? And at this point, I'm not sure what's going on where he lost his lead.
Yeah, it looked like he came down pit road at the same time as a couple of other drivers. Maybe he thinks he can make it on fuel at this point. I'm not sure what the fuel window is. Brady, you have a better idea of what the fuel window is for these trucks tonight?
Yeah, they should be able to go about 47 to 52 laps. So Justin feels like he can kind of manage the fuel mileage here, and he's going to top off here and make it from here. So he's going to give it a go.
Yeah, and that'll probably be the 2 to go the next time we come back around. The lights should go out on the pace truck, and we should get them racked and stacked for a restart. Kyle Hess, though, your current leader, as we'll do our top 10 rundown. Kyle Hess sitting in first. Tyler Thurman now up to second with the pit from Lumpkin. Cody Sanderson will sit third. And fourth, we'll have Curtis Rogers. Fifth, rolling off as Dale Rapp. Sixth will belong to Donnie Lyons. Seventh, Jonathan Wiley. His truck's still limping from earlier. Eighth is Mike Allen. Ninth is the TRD 19 machine with some right rear damage. And rounding out your top 10 is Brian Chu in that 51 machine. Steve McGaw did use his fast repair. He should be good for now. Hopefully he doesn't get involved in anything else, has to end his night prematurely. But looks like multiple drivers now lapped down. Tristan Rogers several laps down. His night may be done at this point.
What's Kyle Hess's mentality here? He's just in a roundabout way was handed over the lead, as you see, 2 trucks who visited pit road topping off before we go back to green here. What's Hess's mentality now? Now that he doesn't have somebody to chase, he's almost got to defend his position from that bottom row.
Yeah, this race is definitely playing into Kyle's hand. He manages. He does his best to kind of stay out of trouble. And he definitely wants to take the bottom right here, as he feels like that's going to be the place to be on the initial restart and the first 4 or 5 laps, and then he'll start to work his way in the middle. But he's definitely, this race is coming to him right now, so he should be one to watch.
Still interesting. We are technically still outside that fuel window as we saw Lumpkin come in to top off again. Justin Lumpkin is going to have to probably save couple of laps, not too much, but everyone else is still on track. Will probably have to make a pit stop unless they've been really saving gas hard under this caution. But it looks like for now Lumpkin's plan is to not come back down pit road unless absolutely necessary for an extra set of tires if he hasn't yet. As Kyle Hess will be your leader here into the Geico restart zone, and we are back green. Looks maybe Tyler Thurman may have jumped that start. We have a big wreck there in the back stacking up. As we may be going back under the yellow flag real quick here as Kyle jumps clear into 1. But we stay green for the time being as these trucks are going to fan out and try to find their groove early on in this run.
Yeah, and kind of concerned that, our leader or previous leader who was dominating the race earlier probably was just caught up in that decision to hit pit road.
Brady, you have an update. Do we know if Lumpkin was involved in that incident? It looks like his truck is mostly clear, but we couldn't see far way back as he's lost significant ground.
No, he just had to check up real bad. He didn't make any contact with anybody, but he just had to check up real bad as he saw truck spinning in front of him.
As we have a battle for the lead, Tyler Thurman looking to the inside of Kyle Hess. He'll duck back in line down the back, and he'll probably have to kind of gather himself here for a lap and then give it another go, maybe down that front straightaway, but he will not be able to make a move going into 3 and 4. Looks like Curtis Rogers around the outside of Cody Sanderson. Curtis Rogers coming alive late in this race as he's making his march towards the front here, as we have 7 trucks who have pulled away from everyone else, racing relatively clean, relatively, comfortably right now. No one making dire moves for passes, although Cody Sanderson looking to the inside of Curtis Rogers here off of 2.
Yeah, very interesting to notice now that Hess is out front. He's pretty much sticking to the line that has been working for him. That middle of the track, middle of the groove, through the turns, coming up to the straightaways. But he's sticking to his plan, and so far it's working.
And I think that's what you have to do when you're out front, is just run your line. Be consistent. Know what you can do well. Don't change anything up unless it's maybe late in the race and you want to block a lane. But for now, run what you know. Don't try to make any drastic decisions. Put your truck in a bad position where you're in a line you haven't really run. Get loose. Maybe, put yourself in a bad position to get past. So I think Kyle Hess is doing exactly what he needs to do to manage this lead right now. Tyler Thurman doesn't seem to have the speed to pass him right now. Maybe later in the run he can, but it looks like Kyle Hess is going to hold Tyler Thurman there to about a 3/10 of a second lead.
Absolutely, and as we see these laps unfold and it stays green, the top 5 are just sticking to their plan. As you see the 24 here stick his nose in and go for the pass here on the inside of Hess.
And as I was saying, it looks like kind of Hess missed his line there in 1 and 2. He ran a little bit higher than we've seen him run, almost in that 3rd groove versus the 2nd groove he seemed to have liked. And that's going to give Tyler Thurman a look to his inside, but Thurman's going to get loose off of 4, and Hess should get the run down the front straightaway. But this battle for the lead will probably rage on. Hopefully Kyle can find his groove again, and for him, but it looks like, again, he's not hitting the same groove he was earlier, as Curtis Rogers going way high to try and find some speed to catch this front 2.
So we've seen a couple times here trucks coming out of 4, almost in that same area of the track. Is there something there, a bump or something that is causing them to hitting the bump and losing grip on the truck? Is there something there that's causing this?
I think it's just the way the progressive banking works. It's very flat there, exiting 4 on the bottom. The truck gets a little loose as we see Curtis Rogers with a great run to the back of Tyler Thurman, looking to hopefully take set. He is not going to make it there. And he is in the wall. Curtis Rogers in the wall in 1 and 2 there. And that'll allow Cody Sanderson to sneak up into 4th. That's going to be frustrating for Rogers as he was making up some ground on Tyler Thurman there. But I think it's just the way that the banking transitions coming off of 4 back to what you were saying, Jeff. And it gets flatter sooner than you'd expect, and that back end kind of gets light and it wants to come around. To see Kyle Hess moving up a little bit so he doesn't put himself in a position that truck to get loose off of 4. As we see now, Tyler Thurman mixing it up, going to the high side. He had been running the bottom in 1 and 2 and the bottom in 3 and 4, trying to find a way around Kyle Hess. It's not working. He's going to try and find different lanes. He just knows he can't run behind that 86 machine, the exact same line, as Hess doing a good job there, kind of apexing that corner. But going to get loose. He's a little bit lower than I think he wanted to be off of 4, but he's still going to maintain that lead over Tyler Thurman. Just a small slide there for Kyle Hess.
Yep, and like you said, he seems to give up ground when he changes his position. What he's been running the whole race pretty, maybe it's just a comfort thing, but when he's out of that line, that's when he gives up the room, and the 24 of Thurman can start to catch him.
Yeah, as we see, these front 3 kind of under a blanket. Curtis Rogers falling almost a 1.5 seconds back. It's important to note, Justin Lumpkin really hasn't made much ground. He's 5.7 seconds back as Sanderson gets loose there off of 4 again. Sitting in 8th. So Lumpkin, hasn't made up a significant amount of ground, but he's trying to hit a fuel number right now. He knows the rest of these guys are probably going to have to pit, so he's not going to push it too hard. Try to hit his fuel number, as he has probably about a 6 to 8 lap advantage fuel-wise over some of these other trucks.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go push and get his truck back out to the front, because if he does that, he's just going to burn up his tires. Yeah, he may have the gas for the end of the race, but he's going to burn up the tires doing so. Now he's just kind of back, I said cruise control before. That's kind of where he's going to run his race, not worry about what's in front of him. He's got to let the race come to him and let the other trucks have to pit, and he'll eventually cycle to the front if it works out according to his plan, but the race has got to stay green for that to happen.
I think there's something he has to be concerned of, and it has to be the time fall off on old tires. He's not coming back down pit road. He's going to be running over 50 laps on a set of tires, and that's going to really affect his speed. Yes, some of these drivers are going to pit, and he's going to gain a significant amount of time, but he's going to give up a significant amount of time when these trucks come back out on fresh tires. So it's just going to be kind of a game to see if we stay green the rest of the race. Do those guys on fresh tires, not having to worry about fuel, running all the way to the end, can they possibly make up that ground and pass them again? As we go back to the lead here, that lead battle between Kyle Heth and Tyler Thurman. But that's something we also have to keep in mind if this runs green to the end and we see the rest of these drivers pitting.
Absolutely, and you saw it before as we got close to the end of the stage, and they had a good amount, 25 plus laps on their tires. Their lines changed significantly, their speeds changed significantly, so it's really about how he's going to manage his equipment here if this is all going to pay off.
Yeah, and I think if you're Kyle Hess or Tyler Thurman right now, I know you don't want to go too hard because you don't want to use up your tires, but realizing that you still have to make a stop. Maybe you push a little bit harder right now, get the most out of those tires, because you know that Justin Lumpkin cannot afford to push. He still has to hit a fuel burn, and he has to get these tires all the way to the end of this race. His plan at this point is if there's no caution, he will not pit. So if you can build as big of a gap as you can to Justin Lumpkin right now as the leader, right now it's at 6.5 seconds-ish. If they can build as big of a gap as they can, maybe that'll put them in a better position to run him back down after they have to pit in probably about 10 to 15 laps time.
Yeah, they're gonna have to every said Tyler, but at the same time too, they're gonna have to nail their pit stop. We saw guys not being able to get on pit road under caution. Now you got to do it coming from full speed, slowing down to pit road speed. It's all gonna play into if they can maintain a good pit stop and be able to catch back up. If it's going to be Lumpkin out in front of them, they have to hit everything perfect at this point.
And that's something that we haven't seen any of these drivers do, as you're saying, is make that green flag stop. I don't know if any of them practice it during the practice period. I know whenever I'm in a session, I think there's a chance for a green flag stop. I will make a practice run trying to get down to pit road speed and then getting off pit roads. I will do a full cycle. I just won't go to my box. I'll go to my box, do the 4 tires, and then time my outlap as well to get a better gauge of how much time you may lose on a green flag, especially at 1.5 miles, where you can go anywhere from a lap down to 2 laps down, depending on where you are in relation to the leader when you make that stop. So I think it's something that we haven't seen. It's an extreme unknown at this point in the race. So as we go winding down, I think you're going to see some of these drivers maybe think strategy-wise, do they try to run as long as they can, take a little bit of fuel, and maybe only right-side tires? Do you see them get to a number they feel comfortable with, come in, four tires, and full tank of fuel? A lot of options are available for these drivers, especially the 2 out front of Hess and Thurman, as they have over 2 seconds on third place of Curtis Rogers, who has gotten back by Cody Sanderson.
Another thing that's going to play in this too is who's going to make that first move to pit road. When is it going to be their time to do it? Because once that first truck goes, you know that there's going to be followers.
And like you said, there's an advantage to being that first truck in, because you are going to be significantly faster on that lap. You're going to make up a lot of time just on that out lap alone. So I think there's an advantage to maybe being the first truck to come down pit road. So if you're Kyle Hess or Tyler Thurman, if you're kind of seeing the racing get spread out, obviously, though, right now we have 3 trucks relatively close by. Possibility for a caution. There's Brian Chu finding some speed here late in the run. He's moved up to 5th, and he's going to try and make a move by Anderson for 4th. Maybe you're watching this and thinking, okay, we could get a caution. That kind of changes the entire game of itself. Or if you see maybe these trucks are more spread out than you're thinking, we may not get a caution. Pit earlier, try to get that advantage and try to get the jump on the field.
Yeah, guys, and
Absolutely.
real quick on pit road, I just spoke with the 87 Justin Lumpkins crew chief, and he is clutching it right now in the corners. He's saving fuel, so don't worry about his lap times or where he's running at. He is in fuel manage mode. He's clutching it, so he's about 2 laps short. He needs to save about 2 laps, and then he can make it there. So that's what Justin Lumpkins dealing with right now.
I think
And I
that's
would
a
imagine
huge
here in the
development.
next, absolutely, I would be thinking that he would be closer than that, but now he's got to be in the saving mode the rest of the race. It's going to be very difficult task for him to make this all happen on this one stop.
But he does have the advantage. You see, there's other trucks around him he can draft off of, maybe help him clutch a little bit more. But, I mean, under 35 laps to go in this race for Justin Lumpkin. 2 laps is a lot of fuel saving. I mean, you're kind of just rolling most of the corner. You can't really get the power down. 2 laps is a significant number, and you're going to see, I think, that lead of Hess and Thurman to Lumpkin grow. And that brings in that alternate strategy where I was talking about. They both pit, and then they just run him down naturally. So I think that's something we have to keep an eye on after the green flag stop cycle, as we see Kyle Hess starting to pull out a lead on Tyler Thurman.
Yeah, and I would imagine here now that the trucks have close to 30 laps, pending a caution here or there from earlier, 30 laps on their tires. We started to see trucks really change. I would imagine in the next 5 to 10 laps that you're going to see guys hitting pit road. No.
I will have to go to our pit road reporter, Brady. Have you heard any possibility on when some of these drivers are going to make their way down pit road?
I'm not hearing anything out of the leaders right now. There was a couple of guys, Dale Rapp and Stephen McGow. They're talking about 5 to 10 laps here of coming down pit road. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna with the 87 there on track. Everybody's aware of it, so they're gonna kind of run the tanks dry and hope for a caution to come out.
As we see, these drivers up front are over 30 laps now on this run since their last pit. Obviously, several of those were under caution, but you're kind of seeing they're about 15 laps-ish, maybe 20 laps at the most from being out of gas. I'm wondering maybe if some of these drivers would want to maybe split this last stage in 2, so maybe they could come anywhere in the next 3 to 5 laps, kind of balance out their lap times over the run and try to get the most out of that speed.
Yeah, if it were me, I'm out there. Like I said before, I'm remembering about 30 laps or so was making it difficult to drive. Maybe I'm the type of guy. Maybe I'm going to come in early, grab my fuel that I need to get to the end and the fresh tires, and then hammer it to the end, try to make up that time and get ahead of everybody that still has to pit.
And I think, as we've talked about earlier, as you brought up again, these trucks did seem to fall off around that 25 to 30 lap mark. Maybe that first time you have a big slide off of 4 or off of 2, you say, screw it, I'm coming down to pit road, getting my 4 fresh tires and making my run to the end.
As we see here again, the 65 Hooters machine running similar line to he was earlier before he made contact with the wall at the 65 of Rogers. He's back into his groove, kind of running the same line that Hess was running earlier. But he's got the 88 chasing him down quickly here.
As it looks like we have a truck coming down pit road. I did not catch who that was. It is Tyler Thurman, your second place truck. He is down pit road, and this may set off the chain of events here. Kyle Hess may be the next driver down, as it looks like maybe this green flag pit cycle has begun here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Are we hearing anything from the leader at this time, Brady?
No, not. He's just running his race. So if I would think anything of Kyle, he's going to run it until there's 1 lap left in the tank, and then he'll come down pit road.
You see him a little bit loose there. Curtis Rogers fighting with Cody Sanderson now for second. Donnie Lyons sitting right there behind. As these drivers are now really starting to pick up, I think the intensity in the racing is just getting more and more intense. As we see Brian Shue and Stephen McGough side by side there as Justin Lumpkin's watching these guys battle. I mean, they're battling for 4th and 5th right now. Lumpkin sitting there in 6th. He's only 8 seconds behind the leader of Kyle Hess. I feel like if in that situation he's feeling comfortable, it looks like Tyler Thurman has lost a lap, but he should be back out on track at this point. So it should be interesting to see where it's like. And we have another taker down pit road. And that is our leader. Kyle Hess has decided to pull the trigger. He is coming down pit road, so not running that tank dry. It will be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Tyler Thurman. Cody Sanderson's taking over the lead. It looks like multiple trucks are now coming down pit road. The floodgates have opened as Dale Rapp has come down pit road as well. Mike Allen in the pits as well. Multiple drivers, Tristan Rogers. So pit cycle very much underway at this point as your new leader is Cody Sanderson, and there's Tylerman to unlap himself, as it looks like Curtis Rogers has now dove down pit road as well. And
yeah, this is going to make the race for some of these guys, like we talked about before, hitting that pit road smoothly, getting into your pit, the first time and not having to back up, and then not speeding at all. A lot of guys antsy and want to get back out on the track and start racing again, and then you hit that gas a little bit and get caught speeding, as we see the 88 now making his way down to pit road for his final stop.
Important to note, Kyle Hess came out behind the 88 of Sanderson down in the backstretch, so Tyler Thurman cycled ahead of Kyle Hess. Justin Lumpkin now, though, is your leader as the pit stops have cycled through so far. Looks like everyone has pit except for McGo, I believe, still has to make a pit stop unless he was under the same strategy as Lumpkin. In that case, those two are running first and second. Tyler Thurman will cycle probably to third, and Kyle Hess will cycle to fourth once all the green flag stops are finished.
With 25 to go here for Lumpkin now, he's back where he wanted to be, out in front with that strategy. Now it's just to see if he's got, if he saved enough in the tank to make it the last 20 laps here.
Brady, are we hearing any word from Lumpkin or his crew chief on if they have enough to make it, or is he still clutching that?
He's still clutching in the corner, so I don't think he has enough at this time. But the way he's clutching it, I think he's going to be able to get his enough fuel, but he's still clutching it.
As Stephen McGo has come down pit road now, so McGo will cycle to the back, and that'll allow Tyler Thurman to cycle into second, and Kyle Hess cycle in third. Both of them are ahead of Lumpkin on track, so they are not a lap down. They are on the lead lap and chasing down our leader, who is in max fuel conservation mode right now.
And it's a key note, guys. I'm watching Lumpkin here go around, and while he's clutching it in the corners, he's got a 27-second lead on these guys. I know Steven's in second with 10 seconds behind, but I'm pretty sure he has to pit again, which he does now. He's going down pit road. But 26 seconds on Tyler. He's just managing the race right now.
As we do see, though, Tyler Thurman gaining almost a second a lap. That will not be enough at this pace. He'll have to gain a little bit more, as it looks like Lumpkin just ran a 35 flat. That is the slowest lap he's run in the last 5. So if Tyler Thurman can put together some hot laps, maybe he can chase down our leader, but over 25 seconds back at this point in time. Kyle Hess is gaining slowly on Tyler Thurman, but it's a significant gap, and I think pitting early was much to the advantage of Thurman, as he's opened up a pretty significant lead over Kyle Hess at this point in the race.
Yeah, it's going to be a combination of column A and column B here. Column A, Lumpkin is out front, but they need him to keep clutching, keep saving fuel, which is going to in turn be a slower lap. Meanwhile, they're going to have to hit, like you said, hot laps. Go as fast as you can to catch that leader, and hope you have enough time. At this pace, they're still 24 seconds back with only 21 laps to go. But the combination of both, they're running out of time. They're going to need a couple laps to at least make a pass. That's what they're hoping for.
Yes, we saw Kyle Hess about 1.5 seconds behind Tyler Thurman there. That's the gap between second and third. But the gap between the leader and second, as we have 20 laps to go, is still over 20 seconds. Kyle Hess, though, a little bit faster on the first half of that lap on Tyler Thurman, but the real race is to see if either of these two drivers can chase down Justin Lumpkin, who's still in fuel conservation, but we are not yet sure if he can make it to the... That lead is now down under 23 seconds, and that gap is shrinking by just over a second a lap now. So If Tyler Thurman can keep this pace, and if Lumpkin still has to run about 35-second lap times, it may be a very close finish here in Homestead, Miami.
Absolutely. If it keeps up the way it is, we're gonna, have a fight at the end here. But it all depends. Lumpkin keeps clutching it, and we knew he was 2 laps short. That's a lot of fuel to save. We're gonna see if he was able to stretch that fuel out.
You can see the gap pretty consistently decreasing by about a second a lap each time by. And Lumpkin, he's just trying to find the lane that's working for him, but he also, like we've said, cannot get on the gas. So it's kind of difficult for him, as we see now that lead has sunk again by over a second this lap, and that lead is just over 20 seconds here with 18 laps to go. Those numbers are getting closer and closer together, as that was a big lap there for Tyler Thurman, as he's dropped the gap to just over 20 seconds at this point in time.
Now, you guys both mentioned, Lumpkin out front, and he's clutching. Some of us who have been around some of these races and know what you mean, to somebody at home who's maybe a fan of a brother, a dad, or somebody that they're watching on TV for this race, what do you mean by they're saving fuel by clutching?
They're depressing the clutch pedal, taking the car out of gear. It's not going to burn as much fuel. Also, at the same time, there's a bunch of other things Lumpkin can do. He can wait to get back on the gas off the corners. Just any amount of time off throttle is going to help him save fuel, but taking the vehicle out of gear is going to help him save even just a little bit more fuel, as that lead is now down under 19, and we have a caution. And that may be the saving grace for Lumpkin, but also his curse, as this is going to bring the field together. Everyone else has fresher tires than he does, but they do not have any tires to take. Did Lumpkin save a set from when he came down pit road earlier? Or are these drivers just going to have to run it out? As it looks like this caution may be for Cody Sanderson. Pulse Poppers instant replay we'll see here shortly. So it looks maybe we have another situation of the bottom of turn 4. We've been talking about it all night, Jeff. He just gets loose, and it looks like he may be overcorrecting. Saves it again one more time, but this time it'll come around for him on the front stretch. And it's been calamity corner so far tonight, Jeff, and more of the same.
Yeah, we unfortunately the 99 got caught up in the catching the front end of that truck as he was trying to sneak by as he came back up into traffic. Unfortunate for him, but it just has been, like you said, a perfect storm of that exit to 4 as we see Lumpkin coming in for a pit. He now is gonna looks like he's gonna get a splash of fuel and some tires and head back out onto the track.
And that might be the race there, as Justin Lumpkin is going to have 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles with just under about 15 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. He's good to go on gas. He has the freshest tires of anyone in the field, and the field is quite small at this point in time in the race. So this may be Justin Lumpkin's big break, actually.
Now, you did mention the size of the field. Do you think that played into Lumpkin's decision on pitting when he did earlier? Do you think if it was a bigger field, he'd still be pitting, or maybe he would stay out in front and try to battle for the lead with what gas he had left?
I think if he had that extra tires, even if in a large field like we saw in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, fresh tires versus tires that are relatively used on other trucks is a huge advantage here at Homestead Miami Speedway. So I'm not surprised to see that he came and took tires as your leader, Tyler Thurman. Will be up front once we get going back. We have to get these wave around trucks through, but I think he actually, it's going to work out for him. But if this stayed green, I believe Tyler Thurman would have caught him and passed him and won this race. So this may have been the perfect result actually for Justin Lumpkin, because he doesn't have to worry about fuel anymore, and he gets 4 fresh tires. So maybe he's actually lucky that the caution came out when he thought earlier that maybe he didn't want a caution to come out.
Yeah, he probably bummed that the lead he did have, though it was shrinking, it was still significant, and that gets erased with the caution. But now he starts, looks like he'll be starting, and I think 5th, and he'll be, only a couple truck lengths behind the leaders with those fresh tires you mentioned.
And I think that's a significant advantage, though, at this point, is these fresh tires. And I see Lumpkin probably making relatively quick work of this front group. Be restarting. It looks to be about 5th, which is just unbelievable considering the situation. So small field definitely playing to his hands more, significantly fresher tires in the field. I think he'll make quick work, and he'll show why he's been the dominant truck so far this evening.
And the leader Thurman here, Lumpkin was able to, on a couple restarts, really get a good jump on the field through the Geico Restart zone, giving him that little, sometimes it was 5-6 truck lengths by the time they got going. If he can do that, similar, that's some space that he can put between himself and not only the trucks in the field behind him, but that's extra trucks that Lumpkin's going to have to get through, and space he's going to eventually have to get through to catch the 24. We're about to go green here. Looks like the lights are off on the pace truck from what I could tell, and we'll have about 12 laps to race to the finish.
And I think that lap number, though, is also key. 12 laps starting in fifth. I think that is plenty of time for Justin Lumpkin to work his way to the front and get this win here late here at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. So we are well into the dark now here in Miami. The track has cooled off significantly, especially now under caution as Dale Rupp tries to catch the back of the field, as well as Mike Allen for their waiver rounds. Try to get back and compete here. But Cody Sanderson, important to note, he was able to use his fast repair there, so his truck not out of it yet entirely. I don't know what his tire situation was, but as we come down to it, it'll be a very exciting last 12 laps here at Homestead Miami Speedway, watching Justin Lumpkin try to work his way through the field and get this win.
And a key note, guys, before that caution, Justin Lumpkin was 1 lap to the good on fuel.
And that was a very impressive feat by Lumpkin to save enough fuel. As we get Tyler Thurman through the Geico Restart zone, the green flag is, and he's going to get nice and clear, and he's going to hope these drivers behind him get in Justin Lumpkin's way and don't let him through so he can sail away and try to get this win himself. But it's like Curtis Rogers and Kyle Hess are going to run side by side, and Lumpkin's going to look to try to get by both of them as quickly as he can.
Yeah, we absolutely saw, the fresh tires from the get-go of that restart. Lumpkin was able to get, clear the 4th place the truck, and now quickly moving in and going to be fighting for and taking the 3rd place spot here.
And it's going to make it even easier now. We have a battle for the lead between Tyler Thurman and Kyle Hess, and that's going to allow Lumpkin to draw even closer. Lumpkin keeps getting stuck in lanes he doesn't like to run. That may slow him down, but he should have a big run here off of 2 to chase down these front 2. Kyle Hess around the outside, power to the lead there as Tyler Thurman's going to try to go to the outside, but Thurman's going to pound the wall behind, and it looks like Curtis Rogers is going to sneak just underneath, but Thurman's in the wall, and that'll probably be the end of his race tonight, as now it's going to be a battle between Kyle Hess and Justin Lumpkin with 10 laps to go here at Homestead Miami.
Yeah, you hate it for the 24, ended up in the wall, but it was almost like not much he could do. Yeah, he could have let off at that point, but, he was battling for the 2nd position, essentially what could have been for the lead, and ends up in the wall and ended his day.
And this may be the move that wins the race. Lumpkin on those fresh tires gets underneath Kyle Hess, and he's going to get clear of Hess here off of 4, and it looks like he will sail away with 9 laps to go at Homestead Miami Speedway. Those fresh tires just overpowering Kyle Hess, and not much really Hess could do there.
Absolutely not. Lumpkin's going to set sail here. He's going to keep his eyes forward, and hopefully those lights and the flags he sees stay green until he sees a white and a checkered.
You saw Justin Lumpkin actually just ran the fastest lap of the race, the last lap, a nice 33.4 flat. I mean, just an impressive stuff there from Justin Lumpkin this late in the race to just put down those types of lap times. As we see now, the battle is brewing for 2nd place between Kyle Hess and what looks to be Brian Chu, driver who, he's been to the front, he's been to the back, he's been back towards the front. Brian Chu here racing for 2nd place here with 8 laps to go here at Homestead Miami, and he looks to have the truck to maybe get by Kyle Hess.
Yeah, absolutely, as we see him stick to the inside here of Hess, and we'll see if he can clear for the pass. But I kind of noticed he was hanging back, 8th, 9th, 10th for most of the race, especially this last little run here. Maybe he's leaving his stuff and saving his tires to push towards the end here.
It actually looked like Brian Chu pitted the same time that Justin Lumpkin did. Maybe he had an extra set of tires as well on those last stints, and That may be what got Brian Chu up into second, and it looks like it'll be Lumpkin and Chu pulling away from the rest of the, barring any late race cautions here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, you're really getting to see here what the like you called it earlier, what these fresh tires can do. You know, from your previous experiences running here with these trucks, this racetrack, and you know, you see as Lumpkin way and the 51 in second pulls away, that the tires really played a major key in how this race is going to finish.
And the props has to go to these drivers and their crew chiefs for keeping that set of tires around for them to use late in this race. And they did have to rely a little bit of luck, though. That caution coming out was a big deal and allowed them to fit those tires and gave them plenty of laps left to get to the front and take the lead and move into second place. So just a fantastic job by the drivers and the crew chiefs, and setting themselves up for success here late in this race.
Now with 5 laps to go here, you know, the 51 of Chu, if he pitted at the same time, he's got the same tires, the same amount of wear. Are you worried at all if you're Lumpkin?
Just based on the speed that he showed earlier, I think Lumpkin is comfortable, but Brian Chu is sneaking a little bit out of that lead each lap, but I don't think he'll have enough time or enough speed to really close and pass. As we saw, making passes is so difficult when you have two drivers on similar tire strategies, and as we see there, Chu giving up a little bit in the second half of that lap. Still a little bit faster than Lumpkin as a whole in that lap, but that's just not going to be enough to get in here in this race.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's just run out of time with 4 laps to go here, and Justin's got a big enough lead. At most, he may, you know, find a little bit of extra speed here and get to maybe close to his bumper, but like you said, it's so hard to pass here, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, as we see Justin Lumpkin kind of just controlling this race as he did so often, so much early on in this, leading the most laps, just kind of putting together a dominant performance, and it looks like he's well on his way to the virtual victory lane here at Homestead Miami Speedway with laps to go. Brian Chu is slowly starting to fall off the pace as Kyle Hess still rolling in third, but he may have some company from Donnie Lyons, who's in fourth, trying to chase him down.
Yeah, not surprising to see. We talked about it earlier. Hess kind of being the 3. He, you know, maybe without the late caution, maybe he had a strategy that would get him a little bit closer to the front. But at this point, we're not going to know as Lumpkin continues to lead the way with 2 laps to go.
As 2 laps to go, it looks like that battle for third has fallen off as Lyons has lost a little bit of time there to Kyle Hess. It looks like Kyle Hess will be able to comfortably run here in third as we're coming under 2 laps now to go. As again, Justin Lumpkin though out front, class of the field so far, class of the field all night really. Had a questionable strategy call, but it would have probably worked out as he had enough field to the end, according to our pit road reporter Brady Levoff. But as we get the white flag here, Justin Lumpkin still out front controlling. Brian Chu second, and here we're looking at Kyle Hess rolling in third.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He had me scratching my head when he pitted, but here we are. He's back out in front where he kind of belonged from what we saw in stage 1 and 2, as he is going to come to the finish line here.
Yeah, and it's just been master class all night from Justin Lumpkin. He has dominated this race in every way imaginable, and Justin Lumpkin will be your winner here in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series Recruitment Race number 4 at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. He took him to school tonight, and he just controlled the race from the get-go. Like you said, we were all kind of confused on his strategy call in the middle of the race and throughout most of stage 3, but in the end it worked out great for him as he had that extra set of tires, as Brian Chu will come home second and Kyle Hess rounding out your podium. Lyons rolling in fourth, and Curtis Rogers finishing out your top 5. As we have Stephen Mago, Tyler Thurman, Dale Rapp, Mike Allen, and Cody Sanderson rounding out your top 10. Cody Sanderson, the first truck, 1 lap down.
You had the Jonathan Wiley finish 11th, Charles Keeler Jr. finished 12th, Tristan Rogers ended up in 13th. The TRD 19 truck finishing in the 14th position after late race issue. Nicholas Darter in 15th. And Dan Matthews finishing 16th to round out the 16 trucks we had in the field.
Yeah, and a very unfortunate night ending for Dan Matthews. He got caught up for the second time on that pit road incident we had earlier as Justin Lumpkin burns it down here at Homestead, Miami Speedway. And we're going to move over to driver interviews here shortly, but we'd like to say thank you to obviously all the drivers who came out tonight and put on a very entertaining show. Not a ton of cautions, a lot of great green flag racing, and some very suspenseful strategy calls that made it for a very entertaining stage 3.
Absolutely, was ended up being a very exciting race. Especially, we talked about it in the beginning of the race of that final longer stage coming into play here, and a couple late cautions thrown into the mix. Could have went one way or the other for Lumpkin, but it almost seemed like he had it planned where both would work for him. So maybe he had that extra set of tires in his back pocket, knowing if a late race caution came out. And hey, it paid off for him. He's leaving this track a winner tonight.
And Brady, any quick thoughts before we get some of these drivers in here for the interviews?
Yeah, just a great race. I thought it was hands down probably one of the best recruitment races we've had so far. Lumpkin, Mr. Homestead Miami class of the field here. He's just great. So congrats to him on the victory. A couple of key notes. Cody Sanderson showed some speed. Kyle Hess, Curtis Rogers, Brian Shue. He was on the same strategy as Lumpkin. Just a great race by those guys.
And as we come here, as we get some of these drivers in the booth, we'll first be joined by our race winner, none other than Mr. Homestead, Justin Lumpkin. Just a dominating performance tonight. Led the most laps, controlled most of the race. We were all kind of confused when you made that strategy call there in stage 3, but we were hearing that you were good to the go. Were you actually happy to see that caution come out, or did you think you had enough speed to hold him off there at the end?
Uh, I, really, I was good with either way. I was one and a half laps to the good when the caution come out. I was still clutching because I was also told I was good at Indianapolis, and I ran out with 2 turns to go in the Triple M pulling series. So I wanted to make sure I was going to make it to the end this time. But but no, either way it was fine. I did save those tires, so I had those in my back pocket just in case it did happen.
Justin, great win. It's always good to see a teammate and as a kind of a team owner, a truck of mine across the finish line first. So congratulations. My question for you is, coming into this race, did you have that plan in place of how you were going to handle that final stage of the race?
No, not really. Just the way the caution come out in that third stage, I was really just gonna take it easy, kind of keep my pace, but just back it down a little bit. But when that caution come out, I looked and I seen how much I could make, and I kept topping off every time we come back around. So from there on, I was just in conservative mode just to see if I could make it. In the Triple M pulling series, we have a lot of races come down to fuel mileage because I mean there's a lot of clean racing, good racing. So I figured I'd use this as a practice for that.
And obviously, your success in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series and how these tracks and trucks run very similar definitely helped you tonight, and just a dominating performance. And again, I want to just say congratulations to you, but I'd like to give you this moment to thank anyone that really allows us to make this happen for you.
Oh, of course, man. First and foremost, God always. But I got to thank Mr. Jeff Sickles here, man. He gave me a home when I come back to Nazareth with Sick Witted Motorsports. Uh, Proud to be a part of it. Great group of guys. Uh, Millie's Landing, they come on board my truck this year. Down in Florida, praying for all them people down there. Hoping for a quick recovery. But Darren's Nail Gun Repair, Nazareth, Brady, Mike McKinnon, Butt Kicker, and you guys, man, y'all do an awesome job with this here at Nazareth 360.
We appreciate you and all the kind words, and obviously, again, want to congratulate you on just a dominant race, and we hope you can enjoy this one. And we look forward to seeing you. I look forward to racing with you. Unfortunately, not this week, as I'll be out this week, but on future Friday nights, and hopefully, we'll get you back in here for the NRE Power Systems Truck Series on Monday nights.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
That was Justin Lumpkin, your race winner. Hopefully, next we're going to get Brian Shue up here in the booth. and now joined by the second placer, Brian Chu. Brian, we kind of saw you up front at the beginning of stage two, kind of struggled on that restart, fell towards the back around 10th position, then come back towards the front and then fall to the back. And then, of course, late having those tires to your advantage. What was it like for you going from the back to the front to the back to the front at the end?
Well, I already calculated with the two stages with only three sets of tires. I put in my head I'm going to go the first 60 laps without changing my tires. So the reason I dropped back on the start of the second one is because I had old tires on, um, and I basically was just trying to take care of them and just get to the end of the stage. Um, I remember, so I changed the tires on the next one, and then uh, there was a caution pretty quick. So I know me and Justin pit together, and thinking that maybe we can go the distance. In the middle of the run, I was calculating I was going to be about 2 laps short, so I went ahead and stopped. And I know he was going to try to make it all the way. I think he was a lap and a half to the good. So the last caution hurt him badly because I think he was going to make it. I did have the extra set of tires though, so that's why I did that strategy to begin with, is have that extra set in my back pocket. So sometimes that works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. So it worked out for me this time. I'll take P2.
Brian, congrats again on the second place. Seeing that your hometown is Fort Myers, Florida, I just want to say I hope you guys make it out okay with the storm there. I know you guys got hit pretty hard. But secondly, being this Homestead, Miami, do you consider this like a home track for yourself? And sometimes being at a track or having a favorite track, play into being good at a track. Is that did that fall into play for your at all tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much consider Homestead and Daytona kind of home tracks, just because I've been going to Daytona a lot longer than Homestead. Homestead came a little bit later in the schedule, kind of when I grew up. But yeah, I do love Homestead. It's changed over the last couple seasons, it seems like, with setups. I really loved it about a year ago. Seems a little different now, but I'm comfortable with it. I've seen cars around there going real life a ton, camped out there all the time, and same with Daytona. So I do have familiarity with it, comfort with it. So I do like coming to those tracks, and I do have to say, without trying to get too emotional here, it's been a very, very, very tough week. Um, some of my favorite places have been totally wiped out with the storm. So if any of y'all listen, I do love you down there in Fort Myers, and keep your heads up. We'll rebuild, but it's pretty tough right now. It's the worst storm we've ever taken. So
Yeah, and I know all of us here at Nazareth, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Florida, especially those of us who have loved ones down there. It's a tough time, and we're hoping for a powerful and strong comeback from the state and people of Florida and the businesses down there. So you guys are all in our thoughts and prayers, and we appreciate everything all of those in Florida do for us, especially one of our best sponsors, Millie's Catering, down there in the Daytona Shores area. So our thoughts and prayers go out to you. But Brian, after a very strong performance all night, is there anyone you'd like to thank for making this happen and for allowing you to run up front and run here tonight?
yes, I mean, I'm kind of new in the league and everything, so I don't know the sponsors for the league yet. So I do apologize about that. But thank you to them. Um, Also Brady for getting me hooked up to coming in this league. It's been fun. I kind of like that there's a cap rating on this one, just because full time worker. So I'm not a young buck anymore. I don't have time to practice like some of these kids do, and so it's kind of fun to get into a league that you know you can have fun with other guys like yourself. So I appreciate that. Also, just want to give shout out my mom and dad. Like I said, it's been a really hard week, going through a lot in Fort Myers. So thank you to them. Without their support with me all the years, I wouldn't be able to do things I do. So big shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, well, again, I would like to congratulate you on your amazing sites run tonight. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Florida for the devastating impact of Hurricane Ian down there. But again, what an amazing run, Brian. And thanks so much for coming out. And we look forward to having you here full time on Monday nights here in the future.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon. I appreciate everything, guys.
And that was our second place finisher, Brian Chu. Next, we're going to get our third place finisher, Kyle Hess, up here in the. And we are now officially joined by our third place finisher, Kyle Hess. Kyle, running up front most of the night, just kind of trying to run down Justin there before the caution comes out, the way that pitch strategy kind of devolved? Is there anything you could have done differently to hold him off, or are those fresh tires just too much?
Waited till the caution came out. That's what I could have done. I've been sitting here thinking about it. When I pitted on lap 99 or 100, I had enough fuel. I was only like a lap or two short, and I didn't think we were going to have a caution. But I should have waited a little bit longer, and we had that caution. I'd had a fresh set of tires, gas, and none of that would have been a problem.
Yeah, and that,
I'm
yeah,
sitting here
I know
thinking,
that late caution was a big deal.
I'm sitting here. It's just like I'm not mad, but I'm mad. Does that make sense?
That's totally understandable.
It's racing. It's racing. So
Kyle, I know you're mad now, but third place finish not so bad, all in all. But you talked about doing things different. But when you saw Lumpkin hit pit road when he did way, way earlier than everybody else to hand the lead over to you, what was going through your head? Were your eyes like wide open, being like, "Yeah, I got this," or he's up to something that's going to catch me at the end?
no. When he went in, I thought at that moment he was going to be a little bit short because we were still. I think it was like 3 or 4 laps outside our pit window, and we just had the caution before. I think we pitted not too long before that, and it didn't. And for my pit strategy, like if I would have pitted, I would still had to pit again. So I was going to wait later and then do how I done. But um, yeah, it's one of them deals, man. I enjoy running, being back in Nazareth, and getting to podium and being fast again. So I guess that's where I'm at right now.
And I know we all appreciate having you back in Nazareth, Kyle, as a former teammate of yours. I always love seeing you run well and run up front, and appreciate everything you do around here, and obviously being such a great competitor that you are. But before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank for what makes it happen for you?
And I thank the league, all the sponsors, everyone who runs it, for you guys taking your time out to do the racing network and everything you do for Nazareth. I know everyone appreciates it, and just related over to you. Thank y'all for everything y'all do to help this thing make for us to come out here and get on the track and enjoy being on the track with each other. And y'all are all a part of it too. So thank y'all. So
And again, thank you, and congrats on a very well run race and a very very solid third place finish tonight, Kyle. We look forward to having you back here, and look forward to racing with you on Fridays and Mondays, hopefully in the future.
yes, sir. I'll be there. Y'all have a good night.
You as well. And with that, we have completed our driver interviews. Gentlemen, Brady, Jeff, I mean, I think we saw all of it tonight. We saw accidents, we saw trucks slipping and sliding, we saw drivers with different pitch strategies, we saw drivers getting frustrated, drivers making, kind of simple mistakes. Uh, we saw it all, and I think it really put on a really good show.
Absolutely. What a way to cap off race recruitment number 4. Really looking forward to seeing a lot of these guys return and see the kind of show they can put on in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series.
Yeah, and as like we said, we're coming up on the season beginning. Brady, if you would like to, make it known when our season starts and what we're looking forward to this year. Looks like maybe Brady's away currently, but it is important to note 2 weeks from now, we will start our season with the Clash and the Qualifier from Daytona International Speedway in the NRE Power Systems Truck Series. But that doesn't mean you don't have to come watch us next week. I recommend you all come back next week, same time, 9 o'clock, as we'll be having the Nazareth Cup Series broadcast live here on Nazareth YouTube and on Nazareth's Facebook. So we appreciate everyone who's tuned in. My name's Tyler Dittmer. For my booth mates, Jeff Sickles and Brady LaBeouf, the boss man, and our great producer, Cody Knott, we thank you all for tuning in, and we